Okay,
Good morning. Director Brown,
present.
Director Jeffrey.
Present.
Thank you.
All right, any public comments for us?
We have no one in Zoom and I didn't receive anything via email.
No.
Nope. No public comments.
Fair enough, fair enough. With no further ado, we can go ahead and start with the review of the financial statements for November. Report number 1. Balance sheet comparison for November to October. Total liabilities and equity for November were $12,191,826 versus October $11,448,233 for an increase of $743,593. Income statement. Total net income for the month of November was a positive $726,718, due in part, and I would say due in large, to the increased tax apportionment revenue for the month. That represents roughly how much in terms of a percent of expected revenue?
Probably, we're sitting at about, for November, probably about 60%.
Okay.
Judith, would you say that's a fair assessment from looking at that? Because I know.
Yeah, it's right around the 60% figure.
Report number 3, profit and loss, actual versus operating plan. The admin, based upon the approved operating plan, the district was over the planned budget in year-to-date net income by $430,443. The Health and Wellness Center, based upon the approved operating plan, the district was under the plan in the year-to-date net income by $76,282.
May I ask some questions on this report?
Absolutely.
I look very unprepared because we had a house flood. So we've been busy moving and grooving, I wasn't able to print, blah, blah. I'm not used to quite seeing so much red, and I know this is the new way. And so I wanted to ask some questions about that, if we could go to the top.
For wellness center or admin part?
From the beginning.
Let's go there.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Okay. So comparing mind is at play right now.
Mhm.
We didn't see these kinds of markers that it had a minus next to it, but not
Right.
red. So what I'm asking staff is there a significant difference in the budget dynamics with this, or is it just my eye has not adjusted to the new way?
It's mostly your eye hasn't adjusted. to
Okay,
the-
I'm going to the optometrist today.
Okay, well, part of it is the red stands out so much more.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's what's.
Yeah,
going on here.
and what you'll see is that actually a lot of it is, you know,
So stop for just a minute.
Yeah.
Let me help. Advertising and promotions.
right, so we
Okay, so
spent 1,900.
Let me go to my eye first. Okay, so I always go to the far right to measure the variance. So it says it's 9.53% of what we had projected. And then I go back to the next column and it's 18,652.
Under budget, which means I haven't spent that 18,900 that I had budgeted. So for
The
the,
budget of 20,950. Okay,
Correct.
Simply put,
thank you.
anything in the red in the revenue area is
It's
bad.
good. It's bad.
Anything in the expense area in the red is good.
Yeah, I wish we could use blue for good, but I'll adjust here. Thank you. Now I'm getting the dynamics. Thanks so much.
okay, yeah,
That-
it
that-
definitely creates a different perception.
Yeah.
The challenge with the previous by just showing the negative, you have to be much more savvy and critical when looking at it.
Yeah.
And with our goal to be clear.
Transparent, yeah.
Yeah, we
No,
do
I
want
get
to
it.
make sure it's easier to read. It's definitely a shift.
Yeah.
When you're not used to looking at
I'm
it.
rowing the boat now.
Okay.
Thank you.
They're all good.
Mm.
Alrighty, so, that was report number 3, and so we had just had a little interim conversation, leading up to our starting about allocating, and impugning some revenue for the Health and Wellness Center. So we would not have a big, red number on the, both in terms of the revenue and in the net operating income for the Health and Wellness Center. But we really haven't come to a number, but that's a
Yeah.
discussion we need to
I
have
like it.
of the money that we take in as a whole. Part of
Yes.
that actually should be allocated,
Yes,
so.
I like that refinement thinking.
Okay, and then that will eliminate some of this, the nasty red on their particular
Good
side.
red, nasty red.
Yeah,
Okay, gotcha.
yeah. Any other questions on report number 3? Okay, we can move on to 4, our investments. The Leaf investment account statement. Leaf posted $0 in quarterly interest earnings. The cost basis was $1,472,563.08 with a fair market value of $1,493,002.28. The average monthly effective yield for November was 3.67%. Report number 5, the Cal Trust investment account statement. In November, $1 million was transferred from the medium-term fund to the liquidity fund. The district earned $17,142.15 in the medium-term fund, with a realized loss of $34,075.30 and an unrealized gain of $54,939.32. The cost basis was $4,901,721. And the fair market value was $4,760,261. The 1-year total return on the medium term was 3.16%. So, with regard to the, realized loss
Mhm.
and the unrealized gain, were those the numbers that we really had expected to see?
Approximately that much of a shift.
Because of moving money out and placing it in a different
Right.
investment fund.
You have to realize the loss by pulling it out, but you have this gain. So the overall offset we knew would be that difference between the 34 and the 54.
So I looked to see where the unrealized wers. And I guess I'm blanking. I don't see. I see, can somebody point in this
At the
document?
top of the report.
Okay, that's different. Thank you.
There is cumulative change in value. At month end, we still have $141,000 unrealized loss.
For the whole,
For the,
For-
for the whole
for
year.
the entire.
Okay, so this is a little different than before.
Yeah,
Okay.
because with the addition of the liquidity,
Right.
we're seeing a new method.
Being a new deal. Okay, so change that, would that be, is another name for that change in value and unrealized loss? Okay, and where's the unrealized gain? Because that was a figure that was just
Well,
shared.
it was a realized gain. Oh, no,
It was a realized
gain.
loss.
Yeah, it was realized loss.
So
And it's
that's
down
where-
in
The cursor is right now.
Yeah.
Right below
Wiggle
that
the
first line.
cursor, please. 34,000,
Yeah. can you see
Okay.
it?
all right. Okay, again, my eyes will adjust.
Right. Well, and
And
the
54 is down in the balance of the gain, change in value.
Different name, change in value instead of unrealized.
Right.
Or is that realized?
No.
It's
we always have
unrealized.
Unrealized, because this is the first time we've sold anything.
Gotcha. Okay, lots of variables. I get it. Thank you.
Alrighty.
and then the second part of that report, under 5.
Mhm.
in-
In November, the district earned $1,504,076 on the liquidity fund. The cost basis and fair market value was $1,001,504.78. As of November 2023, the 1-year return was 4.92%. So,
Just a slight capture more in that liquidity.
for a very short period of time.
For sure.
Right, for 1 month.
Right. Okay,
All right, report number 6. The class investment account statement. In November, the district earned $4,600,000.
you go.
I was gonna say, wow.
You go.
$4,624.89. The cost basis and fair market value was $1,000,000 $19,398.25. As of November 2023, the average monthly yield was 5.5451%. Any questions on the class?
Very,
Okay,
very good.
in the check detail report, report number 7.
Mhm.
And again, you're gonna see that shift by putting the negative number. And again, this has to do with the fact that the QuickBooks Online doesn't allow the same reporting. So in order to make it more easy to see where we spent the dollars, it identifies the bill by the vendor to the left, and then you'll see the bill and the payment.
Enter to the right.
The vendor is at the top left, so like it says Amazon Capital Services, right there.
Oh,
or
gotcha.
24 hours, right,
24 hours, got it.
right. And then it shows what the bill was, which was 249.
Yeah.
And then you see the payment, 249. Amazon gets a little weird because sometimes they'll send us 2 bills and then we'll pay it with 1 check. But those we'll see.
Okay, checking for understanding. Are not all those figures what we paid out?
Correct.
And some are in red and some are in black?
The ones that are in red are basically, we sent that money out, so that's the money we paid. The one in black was the bill to us, the expense to us.
So every transaction has 2 entries?
Yeah.
Oh, now I'm getting the pattern. Okay, what they asked us to pay and what we did pay.
Correct.
Okay, well,
Some of them might be in payables still.
Yeah,
yeah, but the operating principle is two items for every payment
for the most
or
part.
the
Yes,
encumbrance.
yes.
Okay, got it.
Every now and again, you'll see something slightly different, like for example, where we're looking at the top of the screen there, the Chamber of Commerce.
Mhm.
They sent us 2 $10 expenses and we sent out 1 $20 check. Right? Why would we write 2 separate?
Just watch for the symmetry.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna have to print this out from now.
Yeah, it's a little weird and
I'm
this,
going, I'm
but this
getting
is
there.
the easiest one to follow.
Yeah.
With the change from QuickBooks Online.
Gotcha. Okay. QuickBooks is queen apparently
Well,
of our domain.
they're setting the rules.
Yeah.
And we're trying to follow along and we've made our complaints known that some of the reporting doesn't fit the desktop.
Yeah. The good news is if I was a community member
Yes,
and called to get, how does this work? This is really transparent
Yeah.
because it's just boom, boom. It's a ping pong.
there was the bill.
What did they ask? What did they pay? So, okay, very good.
Well, I think QuickBooks is the vehicle choice now for most.
Yes, everywhere I
small
go.
businesses that aren't creating their own. I know that's what we used up at
Or did you?
Seawatch, yeah.
Kind of the standard of the industry.
Remember my accountants and bookkeepers, they weren't thrilled with it because it was something new as well as expensive, as I recall.
With a plus and minus system too, it wasn't debits and credit.
Yeah. Okay,
Alrighty, so report number 8. There was no further questions on the check detail report.
none.
The visa statement. This report, which lists all the charges made using the district credit card for the month of November. And, to be quite frank with you, I didn't even pay that much attention to
I
it.
didn't see anything untoward here.
It's pretty much all the same. The only thing that's changed since this to the next statement is we were able to finally get Linda Bannerman's card reissued as Judith. The challenge is that Umpqua decided to send it as a whole new, brand new statement instead of on one statement with this. So we'll call them back and see if they can just realign.
As long as we know what it is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it just might mean, depending on what their, what they can handle. Worst case scenario, it might mean that there's 2 Umpqua statements. Preferably not, because it's easier if it's all in
When
one.
we go through our audits, we don't want to be raising any questions unnecessarily for any third-party outsiders looking underneath our tent.
Underneath our quilt. Hello.
Yes, exactly.
Mm.
Any other questions on the visa statement?
Mhm.
All right, report number 9. The Community Development Disbursement Report for November, and it's been renamed from the Community Investment Fund.
Mhm.
This report shows the utilized funds invested in the district's real estate, primarily for the redevelopment of the community health and wellness, including maintenance, repairs, permits, and consultants. The Finance Committee recommends a transfer to be determined at the quarter end from LAIF to reimburse the district's operating account for
So,
expenditures made during the second quarter.
so we'll look at that for next time.
Yes.
Yes.
Sounds good.
We'll have, a few more expenses because obviously, we had some more HVAC go through. I think HVAC is about the only thing we really had in this last month in December.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, I don't think we had any other projects. We have a couple of other things that'll come up. Oh, we spent the first installment to Karn for the engineering
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
for the
Cameras.
Oh, yeah, the cameras, that'll show up in December. Yeah. So Verkada, the security camera systems, that check was cut. Was that cut in December? Yeah, it was cut in December. So you'll see
We're working
some.
with Scott Harry over at,
Mhm.
Carnegie.
We all work.
Yeah.
There's such a stable item in this community.
Oh, yeah.
Carnes, call Carnes.
Well, and he knows all the properties.
Oh, he does,
You
yes.
know,
And where the easements are.
and where the easements are, which is,
So he helped us do the lot split on our 58 acres.
Mm.
He did first class job, expensive. but-
I know, but
They work with the county, it's just a pain in the neck, but he knew everything to do, yeah.
you're paying for that level of expertise.
That's better than
And that's-
teaching somebody else.
Well, and it ends up saving you money in the long run.
yeah, and also the county knows certain practitioners
Mhm.
and they know level of concern low. I can help you with that, Hal.
Yes, exactly. Sorry, Hal, I can't.
Any other questions with regard to report number 9?
No.
Okay. And the final disclosures, the investments of the district on compliance with the district's 2022-23 investment policy. The balances in the district's investment accounts give the district the ability to meet its expenditure requirements for the next 18 months. This is on the upcoming agenda to rediscuss.
Right, so
Yes.
our reserves policies are still going to be, reviewed. And we'll start that again this year. I think it's important that we go back and look at what that amount is and what was added to it. Do we need a full 18 months or can we parse it down? Knowing that the overall amount needed will include more wellness center operations. And a shift in how we're thinking about grant funds for some of our MOU partners, that kind of thing. A lot of those, details will come forward from conversations from our January workshop,
Beautiful.
just to help guide some of the direction that will.
Where did the 18-month number come from?
Well, and this has been 5 years.
Pretty close, if
Yeah.
not 4.
A lot has happened. The 18 years came about by having a dialogue and analysis of salaries and how much we really wanted to make sure we could go far out if the bad happened, nobody
Sure.
paid taxes. So that was the basis for it, was what would the 18-month load burden be? And does that make sense to be able to help staff know their future, et cetera, et cetera? And we certainly had nothing going like
No,
we're going now, so it's a perfect time to reevaluate.
That's an important number, I think.
Yeah,
It
it
needs
is.
to be something that's logical, and you say you came up with this number because, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
and part of the reason that came up, now that you've refreshed my memory, we were doing this during the COVID conversation.
Yes, we would.
And there was so much ambiguity that we said, all right, let's take this very, long-term view of it. Since then, and we've come to understand a lot more on how some of the other districts are. Most are not sitting at 18 months, most are sitting at around 8, 10 months. Water districts are a whole nother thing because they're building out infrastructure reserves that we
Don't
don't
have.
really have to build out for. But we did build out a multi-year maintenance plan.
That's right.
We've gone through most of those upgrade programs now, other than wellness center, which is again, part of more of that conversation. But a lot of those big expenses, the roofs,
Mhm.
the HVAC systems.
Yeah.
There's not really a major system left in this building, other than the elevator pit, which is more a matter of, let's re-engineer the entire structure of the building, which no one really has an appetite for.
I'm not hungry for that.
No one is, and there's no real justification for why it would need to happen.
And,
But-
yeah, the deferred maintenance item, because we had not done deferred maintenance, was a big spotlight for us, and I hope, even though we've done a lot, I would still be a proponent of
Yeah,
a multi-year logical
Yep.
maintenance plan that we fund.
Yeah. we still have,
Because-
and I have that spreadsheet built out from the property condition assessment we had
Yeah.
done for this property. So that we can say, all right, we already finished the parking lot. So in 5 years, how much have we put aside, reserved for a resealing?
Right.
How much have we done for X, Y, and Z? So this building is pretty much set. Obviously, there's still a lot of unknown
Mhm.
for the wellness center, and then obviously the Alvarado building is no longer, our responsibility, so a lot of that shit.
Yeah, with the health and wellness center really coming online fully now, it makes sense for us to have some kind of a capital reserve plan for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any other discussion things that we need to have?
We have the, determine the amount of funding to open the foundation operating account conversation.
We
That's
had a
exciting.
discussion before you
Yeah.
snuck in the door.
Really? Okay, tell me what evolved from that.
So now that we finally have the 501c3 designation, we can open up the account. We have the 5-star account, which again, as the signers and principals, we can open up an account there fairly easy. We had, Judith and I had a conversation with their representative at 5-star. Basically, she let us know that a $25,000 opening amount allows them to put it into an interest-bearing money market account. Since we do not anticipate any real activity through that account for a year or so. The idea is put that, let it bear the, 2.5%, I think it was. Let that go ahead and gain some funds until we have a better idea of grant funds in, expenditures out, potential philanthropic impact. Yeah, we'll see how that looks as well.
So the
So
emerging amount was 25 grand?
the emerging amount was 25,000. That's
Make
the,
that feels right.
Well, I actually came up with 2,500, but I scratched that.
Give a little elbow room here, buddy. Yeah, no, that makes sense as a beginning point. And, you know, if we look at the future of the foundation in 3 to 5 year increments, it's gonna take a 3-year runway to get anything substantial going. And then we can start seeing how it multiplies.
exactly.
Yeah.
We'll, in our strategic planning, once we start talking about 3 to 5 years, we'll have a lot of new opportunities that will have probably started or is reaching a fruition part.
Mhm. Okay, well, stand by.
Right.
Yeah,
One more thing, just don't worry, it's more constant change.
yeah, right. We're evolving, we're growth, yeah.
And just to bring you into the loop, we did have a little pre-conversation. I did ask, the staff to consider, adding a bank statement reconciliation to our, report, which basically ties to the balance sheet. That allows us to show that the account's actually been reconciled.
Mhm, that's good.
And then we talked about revenue allocation for the health center,
Mhm.
which will be part of our, long-term budget plan, and then revenue balance.
Beautiful.
So we'll
The
build that,
molecule is growing in the right ways.
we'll build that revenue line item concept into the 24-25 budget. Which will start in the not too distant future. Teresa will be responsible for helping to really generate that budget much more this year. Judith is already involved in so much of the financials, but she's also gonna take much more staff involvement in it. So it'll be a much more collaborative budget this year than just me.
And that's a good thing.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah.
It absolutely is, and we've got the team in place to be able to make that, again, with Teresa's having the full 1 year of operations out there.
Yeah.
I think that gives us a much better idea of true costs than a lot of our prognostications previously.
It kind of allows your operating people to not have the excuse of, well, I didn't do that budget. Why do I?
Well, there's that
There's
too.
that. It also frees up your hard drive in your brain for the other larger scope.
Yeah.
And they can, because they're qualified and they're doing the work, they can put those together and then you get to review them.
Yeah.
I like it.
We'll do some training wheels this year.
Yeah.
Still, because it's a new process. We obviously changed some of the chart last year by moving over to QuickBooks Online. We found, the first year you always find the little glitch bugs and, oh, where did that thing go?
Yeah.
Oh, where did that go? I don't really know it. I think we found most of those now. Some of the split costs that the district bears that always kind of came into the admin expense, which was truly a half and half expense. If you're gonna treat the wellness center as a true separate cost center, you would have to allocate some of those costs to it.
Yeah.
And so we're just making sure the ones that fit there.
Good. Excellent.
And then, in another 60 days, we'll be having, we'll be free of the building next door with some more cash in the bank.
Yes, we'll be clear of that encumbrance.
Would it make sense, to ask Jeff, just to touch base with, their legal counsel, just to make sure everything is on track?
He actually has already done that.
Good man.
He sent me a notice, before Christmas, after Thanksgiving, somewhere in that zone of just reminder, this is coming, this is the date, this is the expectation
To our friend.
to our friend,
Okay.
to the note holder, or
Yeah.
to the dude
Corporation.
who owes us.
It's
I was trying to get
fantastic.
the right words and it wasn't coming out, so let me just use the regular words.
Yeah.
So, pay off
That
in,
is
what, 2
great
months?
news.
Pay off in 60 days.
Beautiful.
It's supposed to be, I believe it's March 31st,
So that's towards the end of the month.
I believe is the final date, so.
Excellent. Okay, anything else?
Not finance related, but may I put it on the table?
Sure.
So Fallbrook Arts Scene come on the board and I'm on a subcommittee to respond to the new law relative to workplace violence. And all organizations with 10 or more employees and have access from the public must have one. And as you can imagine, that's a one size fits all from an IBM office center to little old School of the Arts. So I did a little researching. California Chamber of Commerce has an excellent website on this. I'll send it.
Okay.
And they have a webinar and it's specifically geared for small businesses, because this could be a head scratcher for, if you've got 10 employees, it's the real estate offices. They're gonna have to do one.
Yeah.
Even though people aren't there very much. It's a thing, needed to be maybe a little bit overbuilt, but we can figure it out. So I will send that resource.
Okay.
And of course, Jeff will be in the mix on it because we want to make sure to check our boxes and we have a volunteer attorney who's going to be doing ours. So
Okay.
just, it's not a small thing, but it's not a, all team sport.
This is, training on what to do if somebody comes in with.
How to prevent it and what happens if it happens.
And I will tell you that. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, Jose, on the workplace violence thing, I had reached out to SCRMA. They have been providing some material to prepare for that, and I'm attending one of their trainings as well on that, so that we can kind of also put it together for the district.
Great, because, we're not a hospital, but we're gonna need our plan.
Well, at Seabluffs, we actually had the Orange County Sheriff, one of their deputies come in and do the training for all of our staff. I mean, we paid them some money to do it, but it was, that was a good program. A good program.
The nice part about SDRMA is obviously they work with districts
All
giant
over
and tiny.
tiny.
So that they've got some good resources. Obviously, our membership allows us to access that without
Yes.
having to pay
Beautiful.
additional. Judith already got her official safety officer certification.
Hey, do you wear a little epaulette on your shoulder, safety
Yeah.
officer?
One more badge, right?
We'll
More badges.
Yeah.
we'll get you another pin for your flight suit. Oh, God.
Good job.
Good job.
So thank you, Jennifer. We are looking at that, but obviously as there's so many new rules to start at the new year.
Mhm.
As those things pop up, please bring them to us to make sure that we haven't missed the
Yeah.
deadline.
Very good.
Hearing nothing additional? Okay, I
All
think
right.
we are adjourned.
Thank you. Fantastic. I'm gonna go back to my wet house.
Oh,